Hello, my friends and family. This isn't a prophetic video per se. It's I'd call it more of a review of a video Chuck Missler made, and this is 9 years old or something. Extremely good. I'll leave it down in the description, and might be something you want to check out, instead of watching an hour of TikTok or something mind-rotting. And it's kind of talking about the days of Noah, and also the angel scenario versus the Seth Cain lineage. His contention is that the angels, the fallen angels, came down and selected human women because they found them fair or fine or whatever you want to call it. And in doing so, they would shed their habit or their angelic body to sire the children with the human women. However, the end result was a hybrid, which ended up being the Nephilim. The other scenario or method that's typically taught, he says, in most seminaries and stuff, is that Seth and Cain's children came together, thus creating this unclean bloodline. And the reason, in the wickedness of all the people during Noah's time, the blood pool had gotten, the gene pool had gotten very defiled and corrupted with these hybrids, and it was an attempt of Satan to try to foil God's plan, typically, for Jesus' lineage. Noah's family was kept safe from the flood to ensure pure blood would remain. Interestingly enough, have the Nephilim and the Raphaim, aka hybrids, didn't end with the flood. So after the flood, more, I guess Satan was, experimenting again or whatever. And the Nephilim were back. And these fallen angels lost their angelic bodies, which is what we attempt to gain, what we will get once we die and go to heaven. Then you become, it's not really an angelic body, but I mean it's I don't know the term. But it's a heavenly body. Obviously we are sons of God, or sons actually, who are sons of Adam, our lineage. It goes back to Adam. So anyway, these angels, they were punished by God by being chained in Tartarus, which is, this is all, through the Greek language, one thing or another. Tartarus is only mentioned a couple times in the Bible. I think maybe once, I'm not sure. Dark, it means the dark abode of woe. And it was under hell. I mean, it was like really bad, but they were chained there, in which they'll remain until the end. They're in their severe pit, and that's until judgment. And I know this is that was kind of a weird beginning, but here's the stratagems. I'm going to touch on some of the points, and I really suggest you look at his video, because he's so much more in depth, and obviously a man of God of a lot of years, and his teaching is really excellent. The stratagems of Satan the corruption of Adam's line, Genesis 6. Adam's seed, Genesis 12 and 20. Famine, Genesis 50. Destruction of the male line by Pharaoh, who executed the babes. Exodus 1. Pharaoh's pursuit, another attempt to wipe out the Jewish population. The populating of Canaan, Genesis 12:6. And that's against David's line. Sorry. And that's 2 Samuel 7. And all of these are attempts by Satan to thwart God's plan. And that's his, that's his whole agenda. It's every time God has a plan and is doing something, and he comes in and tries to defile it, mess it up. Here's the attacks on David's line. Jehoram kills his brothers. 2 Corinthians 21. The Arabians slew all except Ahazariah. Sorry. We're getting into Old Testament names, man. Don't ask me to pronounce these very well. Athialiah kills all but Joash, 2 Corinthians 22. Hezekiah assaulted, Isaiah 36:38. Haman attempts to, wipe out the Jewish line once again. And then we get into New Testament. Joseph fears, Matthew 1. Fears that, there'll be an attempt on the babe Jesus while Mary's still pregnant. Herod's attempts, who once again killed off a bunch of kids in the attempt to try to take out the Messiah that he knew was coming, Matthew 2. At Nazareth, Luke 4, where they try to throw Jesus off a cliff, and he luckily escapes. 2 storms at sea, Mark 4 and Luke 8. And what Mr. Missler talked about in this was, these guys were seasoned fishermen, and they've been on that sea many times. Yet they were terrified, which he kind of says made him think that it could have been like supernatural storm that Satan raised up to try to drown Jesus or whatever. The cross, thinking that they were, finally, we've got the Messiah, we're gonna crucify him, and Satan worked the Sadducees and the Pharisees and various people into a frenzy where they would kill their Messiah, and some of them didn't even know. When he said, they know not what they do, he was, that was right, because many of them didn't. They were deceived, and who deceives people, But the funny part of that is the gotcha. Christ is crucified and goes to hell. And Satan's like, I have won. I've finally, taken out part of the Godhead. But, then he found out there was a loophole there that, there was sin involved, but it wasn't his. So they couldn't keep him. So, then he spends a couple days like whooping butt down there, going down into going down into bosom of Abraham and bringing all those people to heaven, I'm assuming. So anyway, and then there's a summary of all of this in Revelation 12. But it's a teaching it's about an hour and, I don't know, hour and 15. There's another one that's about 3 hours long, and that one, if I can find it, I'll try to post it in the comments. That one goes into some, really trippy stuff, like, interdimensional beings, is how the demonic UFO aliens, blah, 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 and why they are interdimensional and not from outer space per se. We live in, like, he said at the time it was like 10 dimensions, and I think they're way out beyond that now. So anyway, if I find that video because I watched that one, that was like 3 hours long. If I find that, I'll post that underneath. So I don't know. I hope I hope that you'll check the video out and maybe read some of these scriptures that I've posted here. I think you'll be blessed.